Good evening, everybody. Actually, she has introduced a brief of my artistic other things and others. And actually, I am a life member of the Acoustical Society of India. I am practicing acoustical consultancy services for the last 35 years. Under a firm's, I have my own firm called Acoustics Logistics, based in Cochin, having a registered office. Here, I am assigned to deliver a paper. It is designing of internal and external acoustics right in temporary architecture. So, any function having a gathering of more than 50 audience requires a sound reinforcement system for proper hearing. So speech intelligibility is the ultimate aim of any any conference or speech or interactive sessions or seminar and everything. So our subject matter here, which I am designed to ask to the, what are the aspects to be initiated to achieve the right acoustic parameters in the given temporary structures. Temporary architectural structure means a dome-shaped or a pitch-shaped. That is usually everybody know that thing. It will be constructed on a plain ground with a temporary platform or something like that. And even in exhibitions alone, there is a lot of announcement and other things will be there. And everywhere, that speech intelligibility is the ultimate aim. And there will be technical sessions, and most of the exhibitions are based for some medical conference, and a lot of technical things will be coming around that thing. And conference or interactive sessions will be definitely held during that venues, that period of that venue in the temporarily built things. So the word temporary architecture means that there will be a certain hidden acoustical challenges to be addressed when compared to a well-designed permanent auditorium or a exhibition venue or like that. For here, this is a permanently built exhibition center. But they have created a seminar hall like that here, because it is having a height of some 10-meter height ceiling and all, so they have to enclose 3 sides or 4 sides to make a seating capacity or 500 or something like that. So, but here they have done a mistake, whoever is the architect or the organizer or the thing, because you can all hear a big noise coming from somewhere. So the noise is not isolated here. So they have not taken expertise of a acoustician. So any acoustician, there are a lot of, I am a life member of the Acoustical Society of India. If anyone is involved in this thing, this should not happen. First of all, here, even if I'm talking about the permanent, it's a permanent center, they have not cared about the good acoustics, even in a permanent things. Noise is not isolated, and it is that actually what I have seen, our reference rooms are there, all the AHU units, heavy noise making units are just placed over it. So they could have at least relocated, or they could have found another location far away from this noise-making things. So it would not have happened, this heavy hum. Actually, it is disturbing. It is losing the speech intelligibility of the sessions, what is going on because of the external noise. So then I am coming to the temporary structures. Temporary structures, the source of noise will be always from the external things which is not avoidable in a given land or the space where you build these structures. It can be from the, because the temporary structures will not have a rigid wall as of a permanent masonry wall or style. Mostly it will be a dome with a tensile covering or with a hard material, something. It may be for a 1 day or maybe up to 15 days. It is usually, it is being done like that. So they cannot have a soundproof wall or a soundproof ceiling or like that. So, but These things has to be taken care, particularly if you are conducting a speech delivery or interactive session or a seminar or a conference or even an inaugural session or like that. In that case, what you can do is in temporary structures, mostly what I have seen is there, the inside paneling, wall covering will be our modular system paneling. It is very thin, they are not sound paneling, soundproof. And sometimes they might do a false ceiling. And even that false ceiling, even if it's a dome or structure, it will be done with decorated with some textile or some fabric. So that is not a reflective surface. So that is a little bit, it is tolerable because it is not a rigid surface. But the side walls having the panels, with the exhibition panels if we are using, those things are what you call reflective. Reflective, and it is thin. So if a sound strikes from, even if any speakers around that in that thing, the sound travels and it makes a sound pressure level inside the enclosed area. And the sound striking on the thin material, it acts like a baffle. It reflects back. So it becomes a cause for a loss of speech intelligibility. So what we can do in that case, if it is session for 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, or we cannot make a big rigid walls and spending that much money and all. So that you can do it, just you can make that surfaces around 3 sides, the rear and then 2 sides we can make it. You can just provide this ordinary exhibition carpet. It is having 825 GSM thickness. We can have a sober color or something, paint over the 3 side walls. It will absorb a little bit of the sound propagation inside, and it will not send back as a reflection also. So you can reduce a little. Another aspect is that the noise, we have to eliminate, we have to isolate noise from the outside. In temporary venues, there may be sometimes 2-3 adjacent domes like that, in a big sessions, exhibition is going on. There will be a lot of other things will be there. And movement of some trucks or small vehicles carrying some goods and other things can also happen. So what means that the main source of entering the things are through the doors. And doors we cannot minimize. Doors should be minimum 30, as per the safety parameters, rules. Every 30 meters there should be a 1.5 meter double door that should be openable to outside, like that is the safety rules. So these doors should be constructed, the door points, exit points should be constructed with another probation chamber. That means 3 meter by 3 meter with the roof covering and ceiling. And there should be an entry on one corner, and there should be an entry to the hall from the hall paneling. So there should be hydraulic closes, or some volunteers has to be there to see that the doors are always closed. And then we can isolate sounds, noise coming from the outside to the inside of the hall. That is one way. And second way is making the carpeting or something like that, temporary over that thing. That will also reduce the amplification of the sound to an extent. And another aspect is that the size of the hall. Suppose you have a hall intended for 500 people or more, because in inauguration you may be using that thing. On the valedictory function also you may be using that hall. And if you are supposed to conduct a technical session or something for 50 or 100 people, that will also create a problem, because the bare seats and the bare space it will cause a little adverse to the good acoustics of that hall. Every human being the absorption is more than 4.5 like that, and its absorption coefficient of a human being is very high. So bare seats make some reflections, lose some speech intelligibility in way. So what we can do is, if we go for a upholstered sheets, cushioned sheets, it will reduce that thing. These points has to be taken care while designing the thing. Or you have to reduce the size of the hall. The same hall, if you are intended to use for 500 plus, if you are using it for some like this for a technical session for 200 or 100 or less, you make a partition again, control individually, tune individually. and it can be switched off. Any individual speakers can be switched off if the audience is not in that area or on the rear area. So we can avoid a lot of other unwanted sound propagation in the vacant areas, and we can control and focus like that. So active speakers are available on rental basis in most of the cities. Only you have to specify for, the organizer have to specify for active speakers, and that will solve the problem to an extent. Even in it's a little bit adverse architectural parameters, active speakers can focus like that, and we can control the frequency range and all. The sweet intelligibility can be again regained. And another thing, if you are organizing, this is for the general, what you call the discussions what we have done. Suppose it is for a medical conference. Medical conference means medical seminars. Usually, it will have some more than 100 papers in different categories. Suppose if it's a medical thing, cardiology or something, it's a neonatology, like that, and there will be specialized. At a time, there will be 3 or 4 sessions in the same venue, then only they can cover that thing. So there, the speech intelligibility you need to the maximum, I say 100% speech intelligibility you have to attain. Otherwise, some technical words in pharmacology and medical terms are having more than 30 alphabets, so 26 to 30 alphabets things are there. If the speaker may be delivering in the exact phonetics of that things, but if our sound system is not so good or the acoustics is not so good, if the speaker tone is not good, so good, what happens? The audience hear in a different meaning. A simple meaning may differ the entire subject and deviate from the scope of that talk. So in that case, what we use in medical sessions, the ambient noise levels has to be reduced to minimum. There's a lot of cost is involved in that thing. Because ambient noise, when we talk about the ambient noise, I have to go for a little bit technically. So now, we call it as a reverberation time. Reverberation time, we have a reverberation time of this call. That is what we call, if I simply explain reverberation time is, it is a time lapse, time taken for a pure tone of sound to attenuate to 0 dB in our ears. So if you reduce that reverberation time, can be done only with the architectural parameters I told you. If there is more reflections, more space, larger area and all, reverberation time will be more. So we have to do some passive treatments and all the permanent seminar halls will be like that. Reverberation time has to be 0.6 seconds for speech only. That is only for particularly for the medical and all, it should not be more than 0.6. It means it is costly. And the selection of microphones and those things I'll tell later. And even general seminar halls, at least the maximum we cannot go beyond 0.8 seconds. But in multi-purpose halls, where speech, our government town halls and fine arts halls and all, there are space deliveries will be there. There will be marriage functions will be there, entertainment music and orchestral things and all these things. There we have to do only a compromise. We can go up to 1 second to 1.2 seconds. If a musical performance is being conducted, even a seminar hall intended for only speeches, that I told you by 0.6 seconds, that music will not be that much good as you hear outside. Because musical instruments, it needs a little more prolongation of the reverberation time. But it is a compromise in general halls, only that. But we are talking about the technical sessions and the seminar sessions in a temporary built halls. So these are the main things to be as a passive and active sound system is an ideal, and I hope even big towns nowadays it is all available active speakers on rent. And another thing, sound engineers are not acousticians. And sound rentals parties, whoever it is, then they are not acousticians. But sound engineers and acousticians are two sides of the same coin. And an acoustician should know minimum 60 to 80% of sound engineering, what is the development of going on in sound engineering, what are the new microphones, what are the polar parties pattern available in the market. And we are all updated by these manufacturers always. They are regularly update what they make and distribute in the market before they get into the market. Like that, sound engineers also should at least know less than minimum 50% of the acoustical, what is the science of acoustics. They are not bothered. They are only the performance level of a thing in a given room. And if it changes to different environment, then their performance levels changes. That they don't know. They know this is a very good speaker, this is a very good, this is sensitivity is maximum, and their sound quality is good. But if it goes to different things, you know, some gadgets may be utter failure there. It may not be suitable there. And now you might have seen these array speakers hanging from top to these curved things and all. These things are actually, it is designed and made all over the world only for the free space. Free space means in a ground having more than 5,000 people or 10,000 people gathering. It is not intended for the any enclosed arena or enclosed venue like the auditorium, whether it's permanent or these things. The problem is that the sound pressure level will be very high, and chances of hitting and feedbacks will be more if the sound pressure from a speaker is very high. So it is better to, particularly in temporary venues, you ask the sound engineer to distribute the number of speakers more. Rather than going for a 15-inch and above speakers or 2 speakers in one column like that, go for maximum 12-inch speakers in one speaker instead of 2 bigger, or then extend it to 2 or 3 on either sides like that. But you get the same volume of having a bigger speaker array in the front row. So the equal distribution of the space. So we can reduce the sound pressure level to 70 dB or whatever it is, so that you won't feel fatigue also. Suppose you listen to a continuous session for some medical sessions, I know that it starts from 9:30 and there will be a slight break, a tea break and a lunch break. The same audience will be sitting there throughout, exposed to the sound for more than 10 hours a day. And in medical and all, their average age will be about 40, 45 and all, So there I suggest the volume level has to bring down to minimum. If you are sitting like that across a table, our voice, if we count in decibels, it will be maximum 60 dB. So it can be a maximum 70, 72 dB. Then you won't feel any, then you should feel a best sound system in a seminar or conference, that you should not feel that there is an external sound system. You hear it, what the speaker says. That is what that is the criteria of a good acoustics, sound engineering or sound propagation, what we have to give there. So time somebody has to give me, I have, and other matters. I have touched microphones. Microphone selection also is a very important aspect in sound engineering. And there are microphones intended for vocal only. All these sound rental walas, they know that SM58 like that, an ordinary thing. And if there is a feedback, because feedback means the sound goes somewhere and that can hit back. So this miniature, this is actually this is good quality microphone. Some this is called miniature microphones are called electric content microphone. It's not dynamic microphone. Sensitivity is very high, and this polar pattern is also is almost 300 degrees like that. So it can have a feedback from a not from a speaker anywhere. If it can reflect and come back. Not this hall. If it's a temporary hall, these some panels or some exposed, it can come back and make a reiteration of the sound, and it becomes a howling. then you have to only switch off this entire sound system to reduce that howl. Otherwise, it will reiterate and go on in amplification. So there are, in such situations, there are some microphones, dynamic microphones with unidirectional. That's only one directional. Feedback will be less. But it has to be used because if you move a little away, this is also, it is a little, it is not a high sensitive mic. Also the gain might have, they have been reduced for feedback. Chances of feedback are there, but these walls are actually reflective. That's why the sound engineer might have, the microphone gain is reduced. So if I move a little away from here, that sound fades like that. If you increase that thing, howling may start. He knows better than everyone, that engineer who is sitting there in the live operation. So these are the things to be taken care. In microphones has to be selective, so you should give instructions whoever gives the microphone thing. So from the organizer, and another thing, what I have only 2 minutes, I think, and there is another speaker who is AV projections. Regarding AV projections, I have to give one word. If there will be always projections here, If it is a technical session, that means a training session, there should be light as minimum underlight lighting should be in the venue. See that both the faces of the resource person as well as the audience has to be seen clearly. Then only the training will. We will see that whether you have a doubt, you are understanding my speech and everything, and you cannot use as others dim the lights and see as if in a cinema movie. And so we have to go for the best lumen. I lumen is minimum 3,500 or 5,000 lumen projector we have to use for the success of a thing. And safety matters, nothing has been told here. I thought there is a session, last session is regarding safety, but it is on the outdoor events and sports. So I have to say a few words, at least fire protection and those safety things. Fire protection, you have to take a particular committee you have to make in the organization if it is in a, what you call a temporary venue. And space should be given, minimum 7 meters space should be given in between if you are having 2 or 3 doors, because there should be always a government fire brigade session with water and a 16,000 liter water storage tank along with that thing in a shed. Always from the very beginning of the starting of the construction to the demolishing of the last pole from the site. Not only on the 3 days or 4 days of the things. That is the first picture. And there should be 7 meter wide roads for the easy traveling of the brigade, and there should be 5 meter minimum overhead wires. It has to be done like that, if anything crossing the things like that. And you should have it is nothing connected with the acoustics, what I'm taking. These are all safety precautions. You should have the contact touch with a nearby hospital, and there should be a doctor on call always, with an ambulance of that hospital has to be always stationed in the thing. Smoking is usually, we say the no smoking, it is all will be declared no smoking area with enough posters and signages. But it is, I might suggest, it's better to build a small smoker's room somewhere else in order to avoid cigarette smoking inside the store and inside the corridor and something that is the cause of fire. It can happen. So it is always better we become small smokers. But there are some addicts, so they cannot say without smoking for a day or like that. So like that. Then insurance and other things I need not say. Everybody, the VIP insurance, movement insurance, and then those things, And crisis management also, this you have to take for temporary, because my subject is, nobody has talked anything about temporary structures like that. That's why I included all those things and notes. Crisis management is, of course, that what I call the medical things should be there. And another thing which is usually I had an experience for the last 30 years where the VIP moments, when here also President came, but it is not in this area. If it's there will be a lot of blockade of the VIPs of Z plus people comes and a blockade and road blocking, all those things we are respecting those things, So it is always better to hire a private ambulance by the organizer for their own, some crisis management movement may be there. Suppose the last moment you may need 3 more buckets or some garlands, then roads are closed. If we have a private ambulance, it can run through these blockade roads with a siren, nobody will check it and you can get things done. It is not legal, it is illegal, but I am telling that you can go to an extreme thing as a thing, you can keep that thing. And I have given printed this draft to the organizers. After this, if anyone needs, it is in elaborately I have discussed this thing, and anyone needs that thing, and it is available with the organizers of my content of this speech. This is, it is some 7 pages, 9 pages are there. You can avail it, and you can contact me anywhere, even though office is in SL office. You can, for any problems are having this, I will giving my services through mail or in person or whatever is I can send somebody and do it. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Hi, I'm Abhishek. I represent a company called Grover AV. I would just want to make a comment as well as your suggestion as well. I don't entirely agree on the topic of passive versus active speakers, because when we are talking about temporary structures, we are not talking about a gathering of 500. We are talking about a gathering of over 2,000, 5,000 and so on. We've recently done gatherings of 20,000 with Modi ji coming in, this gathering of 1 lakh also. So in these kind of structures, we tend to feel that we own both kinds of equipment, but we tend to feel passive speakers are much more effective because you do not have the botheration of distributing power, which has to be a single source power, number one. Secondly, with the advent of intelligent amplifiers, I am anyway able to control sets of 4 and sets of 2 speakers. So that is as good as active with the push of a button at my console. So this is what is your view on this aspect?
If you are that audience is more than 5,000, 10,000, sometimes you may get a hall like that or a dome, you can build it like that, And in that case also, maybe in a big things about the safety precautions, side walls, there won't be any side walls, only top covering will be there. In that case also, you can use array speakers and with powerful speakers and with an interval of, if it is more than 10,000 people in all, the speakers intervals will be every 30 meters, 20 meters only you can give. Then there is a problem of crosstalk comes. The sound travels only at a very, only 330 meters in milliseconds like that. So you hear a delayed sound from the other speakers. Now the sound engineers, they have a control system for delaying the, like that, and when goes there, electronically they can delay in the sound control system. But in a small area, if it's a small space of maximum some 200, 300 people, the speakers should be, if it is a passive speakers they are using, it should be within 5 meters distance. And otherwise you will hear a repeated sound from the speakers next to the speaker which is near to you. That you can feel like an echo, and that may lose speech ability. In bigger arena, when Modi ji and all came, because you have to use only, it is, you will not get a active speaker of that much powerful. That is, the active speakers are actually intended for indoors, particularly for the seminar halls of maximum 500 halls, churches. And every year I will have some more than 12 churches to design sound system and mosques and other things all over India. And everywhere I found the active speakers are cost effective and it can control a lot of things. We cannot say to them, no, don't put glass there, don't put things there. It is, I left the architecture. We can electronically control with the active speakers to 50% architectural problems. So in your case, larger area, always you go for array speakers. They consume some 5,000, 50,000, 1 lakh wattage of power. Any questions, sir?
You mentioned in your brief about what is wrong in this hall. What do you think it could be do to correct this hall?
Yeah. Here, you can, everybody here, there is a hum noise, unwanted noise. Noise is always an unwanted voice. It is an unwanted noise coming from a machinery. And what we can guess, it is from the AHU. air handling unit of the air conditioning. It's a centrally air conditioned unit. And it is conveniently they are placed over the toilets that are refreshing, that area. Because it will have a rigid slab and that is there. But it has to be kept somewhere else inside. But the problem is that, the location, they have located a conference hall somewhere near to that thing. They should have done the same thing, same enclosure, they should have given to a very far away from the, that AHU room will be only on one side of the hall, because all these things are going, starting from reducing and ending somewhere in the other end. So that is they never consulted acoustics, whether the architects or the builders or the engineers of who made this hall. That's what I said. It's a evidence here, it's empirical proof here, what we are. It is losing speech intelligence because I have to speak loudly to eclipse the decibel of that sound. So that what I said, if you want to clear sound has to be reduced. So ambient noise level of the hall has to be 45 dB like that. Now I don't want that thing. If I place a decibel meter here, that sound alone will be more than 75 dB. So I have to talk, I have to amplify this here more than 75. Then noise, chances of noise or feedback is always there from reflecting. So they are controlling meticulously. The mic gain is reduced to the minimum nil. If I move my mouth, it is silent. Otherwise feedback will come. They know in practically. Anything, any questions regarding? President? Any?
Yeah, there are lots of questions, but I think we are running out of time. It's not possible to remove the AHU in this particular case.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to ask whether we can install some baffles or something which can actually reduce this noise, because
no, this thing, there are for our information, I'm taking one more minute, this can be reduced to nil dB. There are some latest things are in the market. It is not available in India, but we can import. That is called acoustic block. You can browse to acoustic block is a BLOK. Acoustic blocks, there is a membrane of 4 mm thickness, will isolate sound just like a 18 inches reinforced concrete wall. It is available. If you have a wrapper, it's just like a carpet. It's wrap around that thing, no sound will go beyond that thing. That's available. But so nobody is bringing it, then nobody is taking this as a serious thing. That is the problem in India. It is being used on all cars. The cars you use the Audi, it is under that thing. The engine noise and road noise is not coming in sun. Only 8 feet they are using inside a car. And all machineries everywhere, this is the latest development in acoustical sound isolation. So things are there, but nobody consults and they make their own decisions. That is the tragedy of the situations. Okay.